Hey guys, and welcome to another new What If here. Today we're doing what if a female Naruto lived outside of a village. And yeah, if you guys want this to become a series, then do tell me in the comments down below. And now then, let's get into this. So, firstly, what do I mean by what if female Naruto lived outside of a village? Well, more or less something would happen when she was somewhat around 3 years old, and the only thing she could remember was her birth date, October 10th, and of her name, that would be Naruto, and nothing else. And yeah, so let's get into this. It had been somewhat, well, yes, it'd be somewhat she'd just be looking over. So at the sight of her she was 6. It'd been 3 years since she'd kind of just somewhat met a person. She kind of she'd never told the person exactly, though the person was a somewhat father figure to her, though she knew that next year or the year after he may very much die. He was old, and yeah, he'd been somewhat drilling her since he'd saved her somewhat life from death via starvation and somewhat dehydration. Somewhat on kind of shinobi chakra control, strength, and yeah, and also somewhat, or at least somewhat to jutsu, one she can exactly do, though it more so drilled her in the absolute jutsu of substitution, and that if she couldn't do really the transformation, to focus all her might on perfecting the replacement, as that would save her life more in the beginning than the transformation would. And yeah, so she kind of did. And yeah, though she was somewhat kind of wondering or at least kind of why they were somewhat here. This was a nice somewhat place and that, but it didn't ring any bells in her mind. And yeah, so yeah, though she'd somewhat hear her name being she'd somewhat feel his presence somewhat coming, so she'd turn around and she'd somewhat, yeah, though he'd somewhat would look slightly sad, slightly grim, and she'd go, what is it, what's wrong? Go, it's nothing, dear, or it's nothing, Naruto. Well, it's, what do you mean it's clearly not nothing? Well, you see, of course, someone you've noticed as well, I'm old and I'm dying. I probably don't even have a year left in me, let alone 2 or 3 or more. And so I know you're only 6 years old. I've been training you into the ground and that, but well, the thing is, I want you to kill me. What? I came here as this will be my resting place. I want your first kill not to be, I want to die by your hands. I've killed many of people in some of my time alive, and many innocent people, and I would rather, and so once I may, and so I'd somewhat like to be killed by your hand, so that at the very least I will somewhat be able to die knowing that, die somewhat a bit happier, and that you are somewhat ready to live in this world, to live in this world of shinobi. She'd somewhat girlfriend should somewhat be slightly shaken, and he'd go and somewhat remember this. I'll always be looking down somewhat from you, and I'd rather your first kill be me than some random person who may give you nightmares continuously. At least with me, you'll know that somewhat my death wasn't your fault, or that my death was a somewhat one of purpose, one to somewhat give you the vital understanding of what it's like to kill someone, and even someone you love, as there could be a day in where the very person you may have a crush on and love dearly may very much try and kill you, and you may have to kill that person. Or a child even, you may have to kill even your own child. So, please, Naruto, please, kill me. And yeah, she'd still be shaken, but after taking a couple of deep breaths, she'd somewhat eyeing her will, as she'd go, you sure? And he would nod, I'm sure, Naruto. I will forever love you, no matter what you do, as long as you somewhat never regret your path in life. And to remember to always forge forward. So nod, and she'd nod and said, I love you too, Dad. You'd somewhat be momentarily surprised. Of course, somewhat ever since he'd rescued her, saved her, he'd never heard her once call him Dad, so he'd gain a somewhat smile, and she'd run at him, and he'd close his eyes, ready. And yeah, the next thing somewhat he knew, he was probably Green Kami or that, but yeah. Though she'd stay there for a bit before she'd kind of somewhat before she'd start crying and holding his now dead body, and after a while she'd finally stop crying and bury him. And yeah, and she realised now that he didn't bring any of his stuff. Hank, he'd sold all his stuff in the town before, just before they left, so that was why, and he gave all the available money to her. She finally understood why. It wasn't because he'd stated that it or at least somewhat to give her some type of, somewhat awareness of like money and to not spend it all, but because he wouldn't be needing it no more. And yeah, and somewhat with that, she'd kind of be somewhat lost. What did she do? Survive was the first thing that came to mind. She survived, she lived on. Yeah, she somewhat lived on, and yeah, and so she'd somewhat go, and she'd start to train. She'd start pushing her body even harder. She wanted to become strong, and yeah, and she knew, being so young, she knew once her name got out there, people would be coming to kill her, and so she trained, and about a month or two later, she got her hands on what was called a bingo book, and she did all these somewhat rather figure did someone to explain to her what a bingo brick was and that, so she'd scroll and whereas the payouts for the S, A, and S and A ranks were insane. Heck, even a B rank presumably was insane to her mind, but yeah, though she knew she'd probably die without even meeting them. So she'd go all the way to D ranks, the weakest of the weak, yet they were probably still stronger than her. They were older than her by 6, 7, 8 years. And yeah, and so if that is somewhat in the mind, should somewhat look through the new somewhat entry where they were last seen and would then head off. And yeah, and so that's what she'd start to do. A year would go by and she'd somewhat gotten, well yeah, she'd kind of gotten somewhat comfortable. That and she'd been thinking for a while now about potentially getting a sword, a katana. So she had a kunai, somewhat, some kunai in that. But having a somewhat sword would give her somewhat that kind of reach and rich, somewhat that other people had via jutsu, and that she didn't have really no jutsu at all besides from the replacement jutsu. And yeah, the transformation was still not fully there. And yeah, it's still bad, so yeah. And also she continued to sport the same outfit she'd worn on, she'd somewhat been wearing, she of course somewhat travelled light, so that being dark, or at least somewhat dark green somewhat boots, and yeah, mainly somewhat light enough to blend in with the grass and that, and the bushes and that, and yeah, but still also dark enough that at night they'd become near invisible. From there, then due to her somewhat creamy white skin, she wore black leggings. Black leggings. She'd thought about potentially getting somewhat tights, or at least when she was somewhat younger when they'd stopped at a store, but with the somewhat fact that they didn't seem to hold up well when it came to somewhat cuts and that, she ended up getting leggings instead. Plus, well, yeah. From there, she then had a somewhat dark, again a somewhat dark green jacket. Again, a similar somewhat colour to her boots, though it also had a bit of black in it. And yeah, from there, somewhat her hair, even though she had somewhat bright blue eyes, she also had somewhat dark blooded red hair, and yeah, though somewhat after mulling it over for a bit more, as somewhat she knew she had more, or at least she hoped she had more than enough. And yeah, heck, she was also close to a somewhat forging, or at least the somewhat land of iron in that, so surely there'd be someone who could teach how to build a katana and maybe forge one, or at least she could buy one. And yeah, so she'd go and after look around for a bit and asking a few people who'd turn her down. One would somewhat ask her if she was a somewhat shinobi, to which she'd state a ninja, to which she'd state kind of, to which she'd ask her if she was a rogue ninja, missing ninja. She'd shake her head no, to which think about it, you'd go, so you're a student of a rogue shinobi. She'd go, well, kind of, not really now. She'd go, oh, what do you mean? I killed the person that told me, to which the person would stiffen up and should immediately state that he'd told me to, and would slightly explain that he'd I'd been training her, and that he'd been somewhat nearing death, and that he wouldn't have lived on, probably for another year, and that he'd wanted to die, at least knowing I could somewhat protect myself. So we had a bit of a spar, and yeah, I then sort of killed him as we'd travelled to a place specifically for him to be killed. And yeah, it would just sort of nod at that, and he could tell she was 100% genuine with her not with her voice, but with her words. And yeah, actually looked incredibly young, and yeah, he was somewhat wondering who the hell would throw a child on, somewhat out, but yeah, it just somewhat kind of shake his head, clearing his thoughts as he'd go, well, you'd think as you'd go, well, somewhat, what will you do with the sort of skills I teach with a sort of sword? You have no sword. I'll buy one. Well, fine, I'll teach you. You sure? Really? Yes. Oh, come on, and also, you can also somewhat stay, you sure, but I'm sure no one will somewhat come not that you're not even somewhat famous. Anyway, what is your name? Naruto. I see, and well, may I ask somewhat, are you a boy or a girl, Naruto? I'm a girl. And yeah, you'd nod at that, though she'd somewhat kind of ask somewhat why, and wasn't somewhat the boots that he kind of gave away to Richard, and her somewhat kind of, well, granted her hair wasn't that long to the fact she wanted it long, but yeah, she claimed that the only way to somewhat have it long and be, somewhat to live how she was to have it in a braided ponytail, a plaited ponytail, as somewhat to leave it free would be easy for people to grab and the arm and pretty much, a single, tugging at her hair like how that. Then there's, some ponytail which kind of gave a similar somewhat, reason. It was, well, yeah, still somewhat, well, having, hair tied up was even easier and it hurt more, but, well, ponytail could still very much get in your way. Sure, most of the time it's out of the way, but, well, yeah, it still very much be blown about, and, well, having it plaited wouldn't do so. And yeah, anyway, though he'd sort of shrug and he'd state that he'd seen boys and girls with boots and that, and yeah, to which he'd somewhat blink, though she'd just somewhat nod, shrugging. Yeah, and somewhat from there 2 months would go by, and yeah, and somewhat he's surprised, she was in very damn good somewhat sort of woman. Heck, she was unpredictable. The only thing they taught her was really how to kind of hold a somewhat katana with two hands properly, and then also the best way to hold a katana one-handed, as well as, sure, it was unlikely, you'd be like, 19, like, it wasn't like most of the time you'd be spending, handling a sword or a katana with both hands. You're more likely to be, taking out and maybe, having swinging it, one-handed or that. So being able to know how to do that comfortably and fast as well, retaining as much strength as possible, and with the ability to easily slide the one-handed from a one-handed to two-handed to give that extra boost in strength And yeah, anyway, though, yeah, besides from that, they of course didn't constantly train, as he'd also somewhat told her that she could also do kind of somewhat also kind of focus on the chakra control and that, which he was somewhat surprised that, and he'd also kind of somewhat taught her that you could also use chakra to boost your strength, or at least he'd state that. He wasn't sure if it was really true or not, but apparently it was possible for those who trained in chakra to be able to do so. And yeah, she'd figured that with better chakra control, or at least it should get stronger, or at least would be able to use our chakra to get stronger. And yeah, though she tried, and he'd noticed and said, wow, you've gotten stronger there. And she said it was true then. And yeah, and then from there, after those 2 months, he somewhat left, though the person did actually, or at least the person who had a friend who somewhat was a forge, and who worked at a forge / owned the forge, and had someone did kind of ordered a custom katana, to which he'd named the somewhat bloodied 9 swirls, as the somewhat 9 swirls that was on the blade. Granted, it was more like 18, as there were 9 either side. But the reason why she kind of called it bloodied was by the way, or at least from when blood somewhat flowed through the seam, or at least when somewhat blood kind of when it somewhat got bloodied, it always made these swirls become bloodied. And yeah, it was always somewhat intriguing, so she named it the Bloodied 9 swirls. And yeah, that, and apparently she'd somewhat learned of her similarly last name, which was Izumaki, to which he'd somewhat explained that whilst she was probably the last ever one, he'd somewhat explained that they were once a clan a long time ago, and that they were incredibly skilled. And yeah, that, and when she'd asked, or at least if he believed, he said, yeah, all Uzumakis always have red hair. Granted, it's generally most of the time a bright red hair, but I've heard of those with darker sort of red hair who are Uzumakis. And yeah, that, and the amount of chakra you have, well, you're definitely an Uzumaki. And yeah, she'd sort of thank him for that information. And yeah, anyway, though, sort of kind of leaving, she'd decide that today would be the day she finally went after that for her first low C rank, or at least, but yeah, her first somewhat low C rank tuning missing in, as she'd been killing high, somewhat, or at least borderline C rank gaming for a while now, and or at least some at D and some at the low C rank ones. And yeah, and she knew some of the tuning ones, they were probably of course more skilled, even though they may have only been tuning for a couple of days, a week, month, a year maybe. They were going to be a lot harder, as after all. And yeah, anyway, and the somewhat first person, though, she'd somewhat head off to that person, somewhat with a now somewhat new and up to date, what's it called, bingo book. And yeah, after a bit, she'd somewhat find the person, or at least someone would be in the rough area, as the person had been spotted a week or so ago. And yeah, she'd somewhat close her eyes, as she could as she could then somewhat feel a faint, somewhat signature about at least another 10, maybe 15, 20 minutes away, and yeah, she somewhat smiled. She hoped this was the person. Yeah, she was a sensor, and the sort of father figure had taught her, or at least somewhat how to, and that it would probably also save her lives more times than not, with her being younger. Though as she got older, she would use it less and less for defensive and more for hunting and finding people and that. And yeah, so after finding the person would simply stop. This was sort of it, and this was him, and he'd look around and he'd then state, "Come out, I know you're here." She'd mentally curse, but she hoped maybe, it was a squirrel that he heard. But after a bit, he'd turn around directly at her and would start charging towards her. She'd summon class. No, it was indeed her. He heard, "Damn, trainings were harder than I thought." She'd think when she'd pull out a katana and she'd charge at the sort of person. Yeah, the person was somewhat smart, as sometimes they'd sort of classes, he'd personally his way down, and she'd slightly sort of kind of mentally curse. She hadn't managed to get her foot in quite correctly, so yeah, it was a lot, seemed somewhat harder, though they'd break off, and he'd once more charge at her, though this time she'd managed to get her foot in correct, and with that it'd be a lot easier, and the fight would go on, just clashing sort of katana against so no, I forgot what they're called now. It's not shuriken, kunai. That's it. Yeah. And though finally, seemingly what felt like almost an hour, she'd find the person with somewhat starting to somewhat pant. He'd somewhat smart. Granted, he'd been pant. He'd started to pant as well. Haki was starting to somewhat sweat. He was definitely pushing himself. Though he would charge once more, and he'd go, "Well, sorry kid, but you picked the wrong person. Time for you to die." And he'd somewhat turn his head, and he'd be wide-eyed as he'd then somewhat just slide forward and hit the ground with a thud. As now to somewhat be there just panting as she'd go, "I hope it's actually you." She'd somewhat grab she'd somewhat adjust her somewhat grip a bit, and somewhat sending chakra into her arms, even more somewhat chakra. She'd somewhat fling her hand down in somewhat arcing motion, slicing through somewhat his neck, and would somewhat wait a minute and a half, then 2 minutes, as just to make truly sure this was the person, not a blog or that. And with that confirmed, she'd somewhat seal away the head and then the body. And sure, she didn't necessarily have to, but more times than not, she find at least slicing the head off was more useful, like knowing if it was real or fake. Or at least she'd gone, or at least somewhat due to more or less like genjutsu. That has some genjutsu, you could stab a log and pull out, and there'd similarly be potentially either blood or that, so a quick swing at the neck and it'd generally be broken, the genjutsu. And anyway, though somewhat from there she'd leave, and she'd go to one of the somewhat outpost that dealt with, the kind of, black market kind of bounty things. And yeah, from there she'd hand the person in, and the somewhat person would hand her the somewhat money, with using a somewhat transformation to, or at least somewhat alter her somewhat harrowed look, while she did have, or at least somewhat, while she did somewhat, or at least once had whisker marks on her cheek, or at least similarly somewhat black marks on her cheek. She didn't anymore had somewhat her hair would similarly just be black, and her eyes similarly somewhat almost a deep ice blue. And it was just, and from after someone getting money and that, she'd someone to leave, and after a bit she'd someone to release the transformation, or at least while the slight transformation, as her hair would go back to normal, her eyes would, but her skin, no, cheeks, no. And how well, or at least the person, somehow she wasn't exactly sure, but he'd done something, and the next thing she knew was about 1 second, somewhat nothing, the next painful, and a second, and the next moment she was waking up to her somewhat cheeks aching, and somewhat in some pain, but she's kind of confused, and after somewhat a bit, somewhat had explained, and she was somewhat surprised, and when she'd looked in the water, her was similarly 3 somewhat marks were somewhat gone, granted. And it did take a while to heal up, and granted, by her cheeks now seemingly solid, somewhat creamy white skin, they were still very, somewhat sensitive. And anyway, and so somewhat with that kill, another somewhat, 2 years would go by, actually more on the somewhat edge of 3. Well, not really 3, definitely somewhat 2 in some months, as she'd be somewhat, she'd somewhat now be 10, and she'd scratch that 3 years would go by, and she'd now be 11 years old, and granted, she was more, well, at least her actual age was 11 years and 6, 11 years and somewhat 8 months old, as somewhat, she'd somewhat be kind of stretching as well. Somewhat another similarly somewhat to kill, or at least a couple of days ago, she'd somewhat, she had had her first kind of seduction based somewhat killing, and it was definitely somewhat different, as she was used to either somewhat stealth, get in, get out, and or just straight up just fight to the death. And so assassination and hunt down and kill. But she did or at least some people did somewhat send the occasional mission request. She did get some mission requests, but she tended to kind of somewhat ignore them. But this one, she's getting out, but kind of slightly deep down just want to do, which was to somewhat kill somewhat this woman's somewhat cheating bastard of a husband, as he'd been somewhat seemingly sleeping with or at least somewhat sleeping with and having sex with at least like 5 or 6 other women. And yeah, and so she wanted him dead and had somewhat paid her a fair amount, even though she'd of course, and yeah, so she somewhat had done that, somewhat transforming herself to being a much somewhat older woman. And yeah, once the seduction that was it was relatively somewhat easy, was yeah, so on top about horny men were. And yeah, and as somewhat as well, yeah, she'd somewhat had pushed him on the bed somewhat, as he'd gone, dominant one, somewhat, are you? Yeah, I'm real dominant. So he'd somewhat be confused, as he'd then be thrown somewhat to his back, and he'd go, and somewhat kind of, God, wait, you're not going to, yeah, I just over up your somewhat ass, real far up your ass, as next thing he knew was sheer pain, as she'd somewhat tried, she'd somewhat would perceive to de-transform her somewhat katana and shove it up his ass, before just somewhat sending chakra into somewhat arms and just slicing down, killing him. And yeah, and then somewhat from there she'd somewhat release the transformation, or at least she somewhat wouldn't. Well, yeah, she'd somewhat release the transformation and would then somewhat easily leave. And yeah, though she'd cut off the pastor's head and would, or at least somewhat transform into somewhat the form in which she'd somewhat met the woman. Somewhat she'd arrive to somewhat the place, and after somewhat knocking and waiting for a bit, the woman would dance, and she'd show the somewhat the somewhat head, to which the woman would somewhat nod and would pay her the rest of the amount. And somewhat with that, the somewhat woman would actually ask if she could keep the head, to which she'd somewhat not to just shrug and go, here you go, and would just pound her over the head and would leave. Yeah. Who knows what she was going to do with the head of her once husband, but whatever. And yeah. Those who somewhat very much knew that she'd also somewhat have to deal with also having sex, though at the moment that was very much the first from her mind, mainly as her somewhat low half had decided that today was finally the day she'd finally somewhat start a period. And yeah, when she'd somewhat had turned 10, she'd kind of only somewhat wondering, or at least somewhat what happened, or at least somewhat what happened, or at least the somewhat progression from, like 10 years and, somewhat kind of 11, 12 and 13, as she had obviously had faced against, Roy Conrici, somewhat around those ages, that seemingly had started to grow breasts or had breasts. And yeah, so she was kind of somewhat curious and obviously wanted to know what to expect, as she was, a solo shinobi. And yeah, so she looked up, and while she wasn't exactly all that thrilled that she'd be somewhat, or at least once seemingly somewhat, once she started bleeding below, she'd be able to have children, give birth, and it would be a monthly thing, or at least should be somewhat monthly, but it would probably be random for probably the next couple of years, to which she'd somewhat, yeah, she wasn't exactly happy with. Yeah, though, of course, something by now, as well, she'd grown a bit more, something a lot more, and had, well, once more, had somewhat kind of, well, she's still somewhat wearing, no, she had that, well, yeah, she'd somewhat had changed something to outfit to somewhat be more kind of black now, as she'd been doing more somewhat assassination type missions, so she'd somewhat had worn just somewhat black. Oh yeah, somewhat just black. Somewhat, oh yeah, somewhat black. Somewhat, somewhat knee-high boots and, somewhat black. Tights. Somewhat then, well yeah, and a somewhat black top with then somewhat a black top with then somewhat black somewhat, well yeah, then somewhat black sleeveless gloves that went past her somewhat elbows, and yeah, and oh yeah, from there though, yeah, though she'd somewhat, though just look out the, though she'd somewhat get up and she'd go to the some bathroom, and yeah, after taking off some of the pads which she'd been using since she was about something 11, or at least by somewhat once she'd turned 11, she'd been somewhat every night just putting her pad down just in case she woke up the next morning to be bleeding, though she did presume that, or at least hope that, she did, or at least her chest did start to grow prior to her period, as that was stated to happen, but there was also the chance that she may just be a natural kind of somewhat late bloomer when it came to her chest, to which then she'd still be flat and would have a period. But no, her chest did grow, and yeah, that had happened about 2 months ago. Anyway, though somewhat after doing a somewhat, well, yeah, that, and she'd somewhat go and leave, and she'd somewhat walk around the somewhat current town she was in. It was okay, nothing really all that special. Seemingly, she'd seen, many towns now. She'd, had travelled somewhat all throughout the elemental nations, and yeah, though she tended to prefer seemingly the somewhat land of fire over the somewhat others. Heck, she barely even went to sooner. She, sooner it was just a, sooner it was just a freaking desert. With, it was just like, hard no. Granted, Kumo was mountains and that, but she could tolerate mountains over a freaking desert. Yeah, same with somewhat Ira was also kind of a mountainous somewhat area. But yeah, though she did seem to have the occasional somewhat mission from Ira, but yeah, she didn't really somewhat care. Granted, she tended to, she of course didn't really take missions from some villages. So, and actually still had to this day taken a village, one from a solid village, as she just didn't care. And of course, by now, her name had been entered into the bingo book as simply, or at least seemingly, somewhat the bloody swirl, as somewhat the, and somewhat it was the pattern somewhat on her sword. That, and the only seemingly somewhat picture of her was ironically during the somewhat night, to which it stated that seemingly all her skills were in somewhat somewhat assassinations and that, to which, not really. She preferred hand-to-hand combat. Well, or at least like daylight. But, well, yeah, you know, they somewhat wouldn't know she did more daylight raids as, well, they were dead. Yeah. Someone hacked the fact she'd been entered into the bingo books was a bit concerning, because it meant her stealth for that hadn't been all that good. Someone had managed to spot her, or at least figure it out, and yeah, though there was no clear face, and due to the fact she'd, or at least had somewhat used a minor not genjutsu transformation, they didn't know what she currently looked like, nor did they know her name or really her age, though they expected her to either be somewhat early teen or an adult with a very small breast size. And yeah, though another thing she'd somewhat, or at least stumbled upon at the age of 9, was like the odd ability to make somewhat change. She didn't know really somewhat kind of how, and could anyone else do it? If so, then why didn't they use it? Or she didn't even know, and yeah, so she just somewhat kind of called her golden chains, and yeah, she'd sort of practiced with it, and actually practiced a lot with though she didn't really sort of use them as, well, somewhat for long distances. Hey, well, sure, but most of the time, she was up at somewhat front, so they were generally somewhat useless, as she was always on a sort of, one-on-one. She never really went up against a group. She hadn't really taken bandit camp missions as, well, yeah, well, she could somewhat go into a band camp and that, unless someone was going to pay her for that. She wasn't going to, go and, kill a bandit camp and that, so, yeah. And with that, guys, I'm actually going to end this part here, so if you want part 2 and to obviously have this continue, do say, guys, and yeah, hope you guys have a good day or night, depending on wherever you are, and wherever you are, and whenever you watch this, and good bye.